Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. I am Farha Musnath GMG 2257, here to present my thoughts on Martin Luther King Jr. in Ilm Choral 2023 held by great minds. Martin Luther King Jr. was an American Baptist minister and a civil rights activist. He was born in January 15, 1929. His parents were Martin Luther King Sr. and Alberta Williams King. Martin Luther King Jr. was first named as Martin Luther King. Then his father changed it to Martin Luther King Jr. because Martin Luther King Jr. and his father had the same name. When Martin Luther King Jr. was young, there was a segregation between the blacks and the whites. So Martin Luther King Jr. had to get separated from his white friend because Martin Luther King Jr. was a black. At that time, there were separate buses, banks, supermarkets, etc. for blacks and whites. Martin Luther King Jr. is widely known for fighting against racial discrimination. Martin Luther King Jr. was inspired by Mahatma Gandhi, so he held protests that were peaceful. In 1963, he gave a speech, "I Have a Dream," at the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. He says that even after Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of America, abolished slavery, the blacks are still treated like slaves. After 381 days of protest, a court finally ruled that such segregation law should no longer be recalled. In October 1964, Martin Luther King Jr. won the Nobel Peace Prize. Tragically, Martin Luther King Jr. was murdered in 1968 in Tennessee. He was standing on his balcony when he was shot. James Earl Ray was convicted of his murder and spent the rest of his life in prison. James Earl Ray died in 1998. Martin Luther King Jr. is remembered for his tireless work during the civil rights movement and his dream that one day everyone would be treated as equals. A statue built of Martin Luther King Jr. now stands in Washington, D.C. and each year the third Monday in January is celebrated as Martin Luther King Jr. Day, an American federal holiday. Thank you and Jazakallah. Hope you enjoyed my presentation about Martin Luther King Jr.
இன்றைய சொற்பொழிவை வழங்கிய இளம் பேச்சாளருக்கு வாழ்த்துக்கள். இன்றைய உரை எவ்வாறு இருந்தது? இதன் மூலம் நீங்கள் பெற்றுக்கொண்ட பயன்கள் என்ன என்பதனை கீழே உள்ள கமெண்ட் பாக்ஸில் பதிவிட தவறவிடாதீர்கள். எமது யூடியூப் பக்கத்தினை சப்ஸ்கிரைப் செய்து இது போன்ற இன்னும் பல செயற்திட்டங்களை முன்னெடுப்பதற்கு ஆதரவு வழங்குவீர்கள் என எதிர்பார்த்த வண்ண கிரேட் மைண்ட்ஸ் நிறுவனத்தின் மற்றொரு பதிவுடன் சந்திக்கும் வரை விடை பெறுகின்றோம். நன்றி. வஸ்ஸலாமு அலைக்கும் வரஹ்மத்துல்லாஹி வபரகாத்துஹு.